Hello guys, welcome back to Custom Gamer, and of course this is part 2 of D Robos by Tylak. Unfortunately I had a bit of an incident earlier in the week. I played through this map and the final map, recorded everything, and then went and accidentally deleted all that footage from my hard disk. Absolutely no way to get it back, so this is actually my second playthrough, which I've re-recorded for you guys. So I still managed to get horribly lost, which is an issue with this map, which I'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, just know that that's what happened. So if it seems like I know where I'm going, it's because I've already played it. And the second announcement I wanted to make is, wow, what a brilliant weekend for Half-Life 2 maps. You've had Baryonic Predicament by Mega, released on Saturday, or was it Friday night? I forget. And then you've had Mission Impossible 3 released today, that is Sunday. Wow, I suggest you go and play both of those releases. They're both on Planet Phillip right now. If you go to planetphillip.com, download them. They're both fantastic maps in their own rights. I will do videos of them, but I'm very busy the next week. And then the week after that, I'm on holiday for Sweden for a week. So yeah, it might be a while before I actually get some videos up, but we'll see what we can do. Anyway, enough about all that. So, this is the kind of first thing I wanted to talk about in this map, is that the layout is it's very confusing, and it doesn't really mark critical path well at all. This is something that was kind of an issue in the first map, but certainly not as much as it is here. I mean, as you'll see in this video, there's like a couple of loops you can kind of go down in this map, then it all kind of combines back together in that first area where we just had the shootout. And if you don't go up those ladders in that room I was just in to plug in the batteries up the top there, as you'll notice here, all these things don't work here until you plug in all the batteries above. But if you don't do that, like I do in this video, it's actually completely pointless going around the other half of the level until you've done that. So the map doesn't really explain what you need to do that well. I mean, when you try and use those consoles, it says that you need battery power and, you know, all this, but it's not very well communicated, like where the batteries are, considering their importance. I mean, it's basically just a ladder on a wall that you have to go up. It doesn't look special at all. It just looks like it could be a secret area or something, or just, you know, a kind of rooftop area. But you actually need to go up there to finish the level. I think I would have made it slightly more obvious. But hey, we'll carry on. This even confused me on the replay of this map, like I was just mentioning. I had to replay the map there. Yeah, not particularly good. But again, one of the things that I really like in this level is, again, the use of combat arenas. We talked briefly about that in part 1, kind of giving the Combine and the player lots of different choices about where to go in combat, and lots of flanking routes and things like that. And again, this map is just fantastic in doing this. There's so many areas where the Combine can just come at you from so many different angles. It's really, really nicely done. And here we've got this strange audio problem again. It stops in a moment, thank God. But luckily I've got compression on this audio, so it doesn't sound too loud on the video, hopefully. But in game, it was kind of blowing my ears off. But again, this lift here is just, it's not critical to the route of the map. It's just a nice thing the authors added that the Combine and the player can use to get around. Really nicely done. So we've got antlion, zombies and Combine in this map, so lots of hectic combat. So the area those Combine have just come from is actually where you go to the third map, but the door won't open until you've plugged in all the batteries in that area that I was talking about earlier. So again, this entire loop I'm going around here in the map is just... the mapper doesn't stop you going this way, but unfortunately it's all for naught until you've actually activated the batteries. Which is kind of interesting. I mean, you know, you hear players complaining all the time, I want more freedom in maps, and you know, I want to go where I want and all this, and a lot of the time the author's actually like trying to save you a lot of frustration by pointing the way out very directly. It's kind of interesting that in this map you're just left to, if you want to go this way, then fine, you can go this way, but you're not going to be able to do anything until you solve the first puzzle. Now, at this point in the video, I hadn't actually noticed it yet, but I've got a bit of see-through plastic underneath the laser in my mouse somehow. So my mouse starts really playing up, like I figured it was broken or something, because it just suddenly like lost all sensitivity. You see me fight with it a little bit. Luckily I figure out what's going on. Yeah, and the other interesting thing with this map is that it does have a gravity gun in it that you can go and find and pick up, but again, it kind of feels like a secret area. And you think that such a gameplay defining item as a gravity gun, you wouldn't leave it to chance whether the player would find it or not, but in this map, no, it's just kind of thrown in a corner somewhere off the critical path. It's really interesting that the author would do that. Because if you think about it, the gravity gun is probably one of the most game-changing items you can pick up in Half-Life practically. It opens up so many options. Yeah, that was a complete fail assault, that was, so we'll skip back to where I was before. Unfortunately the AI in this guy bugs out a bit, as it did in the first map. Maybe it's just he hasn't placed the nodes correctly or something, but it's a real shame that happens. But yeah, the fact that the gravity gun's kind of hidden away in this kind of odd little secret area, you'll see it in a moment here, but kind of reminds me of some old Quake maps where they'd put a really powerful weapon in a secret, and that would be the only place in the level where you'd find it. Look, I'm fighting with my mouse again here, like, come on now. But yeah, some Quake maps, that they would have like a rocket launcher or a lightning gun hidden in a secret, and if you didn't find that secret, then you just miss out on that item for the entire map. This is kind of what it reminds me of here. I mean, some people really dislike that, but I don't know, I find it quite interesting, and the fact that if you find the secret, you get another tool in your toolbox, which I think is a really nice way to reward exploration and finding secrets like that. You could almost like have a map with opens up completely different routes if you find a gravity gun or not using a secret. You could almost play the entire map differently. I think that's something could be explored a lot better in Half-Life 2. Kind of different items opening up different doorways in the maps. The reason this comes to mind is because recently I've been playing Darksiders, which is kind of I suppose you could call it evil Zelda. Really, really good game. And get lots of like puzzle game aspects and platforming and things like that, and some really nice combat mixed into. But the reason I bring it up is that there's always like lots of different ways to get around, and each dungeon kind of introduces a new mechanic of ways to get around, or new ways to traverse your environment. Get to places you couldn't get to before. You can even go back to old dungeons and open up these completely new routes when you pick up these new items. I think it's just interesting that things like that could be done in Half-Life as well. So you could hide a gravity gun in a secret. You could perhaps hide things like grenades in secret areas only, and have explosions that open up alternate routes in the map and things like that. Or even give the player a choice, like say you can take one or the other, take grenades or take the gravity gun. it's very gamey, but it's kind of an interesting way to add replayability to your maps, I suppose. Yes, down here, this is where the gravity gun is in this level. Once you know, it's just kind of yeah, it's just like thrown in the corner here. Really interesting that it's just lying there. There's no kind of sign saying go this way. Again, we're completely off the critical path here. The critical path is back up here and into that corridor, past the machinery. So yeah, I guess I kind of like it overall. I'm just talking about it because I think it's interesting. I think a lot of maps would just kind of really make sure the player picked up the gravity gun, but here it's just kind of an added bonus. I mean, if there was a part of the map which required you to have a gravity gun, I think it would be really annoying to have it kind of hidden away in a corner like this if you didn't find it. Basically make the map uncompletable. Unless you went searching around for hours trying to find it, which would not be fun at all, but as it is in this level, it's certainly not a critical item to have. It's just kind of just something nice, an added bonus to your arsenal. So yeah, now I'm a little bit confused. I'm trying to remember where to go. I think this level suffers a bit from having areas that look very similar. Again, the first level, while areas again look quite similar in that, the lighting kind of I felt was quite, it was very different to all the areas. I mean, there's a little bit of blue here, but for the most part a lot of these areas look the same in this map. Yeah, so this is where you have to come once you've turned on the batteries. You can open that big combine door down there. That'll open up once you find all the batteries, but unfortunately you can't get there right now. Yeah, and again, the station is offline, doesn't really explain what you need to do to get it to go online. I mean, I can imagine a lot of players running around this map that just frustrated because they don't know what they're meant to do and they haven't worked out where the batteries are. Because it's a really strange place to put them. It just looks completely, doesn't grab your attention, the route that you need to take to get there. Let's grab some health. Yeah, here we are, these two ladders here. I mean, they're not hidden or anything, but considering this is like, if you don't go up here, you can't complete the level. Just doesn't feel very special coming up here. Which I think the author could have done a better job on. I suppose I'm only about 7 years late giving feedback on this. So I'm just checking around here because I can hear a couple of combat soldiers and I'm fairly low on health, and I can keep hearing a sentry gun as well. I'm not quite sure where it is. Yeah, I mean, this whole area is just a bit strange. Like, for instance, if you pick up the batteries with your hand, you get hurt. If you pick them up with the gravity gun, you're fine. It's just a bit odd. And the fact that you have to kind of fall down onto this platform is a bit strange as well. And again, once you've put all the batteries into place, there's no real way off this platform that I could see. You end up just kind of having to kind of fall down below. It just feels very odd. I'm not really a big fan of it. I mean, maybe I missed something obvious. You guys can let me know in the comments, but it just felt very strange just having to kind of bodge it down here and take a bunch of falling damage, which I really didn't want to do considering my health. I really wasn't sure if I was going to survive the fall from here, but luckily I do just about. If I'd taken a bit of damage there, I certainly wouldn't have. Alright, so this is where the map starts getting fun, and we get to play with big robots. There we go, so we powered up our beast. And now we can run all the way back to that combine door we were showing you earlier. Luckily I can just cut the footage and go there instantly with the power of video editing, so we'll do that in just a moment. But yeah, not a real fan of the layout here. Again, it's just like critical areas just aren't signposted well enough. It's all well and good giving the player options to explore the entire map, that's fine, but you just want to signpost the critical areas better if you're going to do that. Otherwise it's just really annoying to kind of wander around a huge level like this without really knowing where you're meant to go. So here we are. We can exit this maze. I do like that door. Again, going back to like the author using brushes for detail, like you can create some unique looking doors and structures and things like that. I think most people might have just used a standard combine door there, but even though the brushes look more angular and you get less detail, it's the fact that it's a custom shape just adds a bit of character to the level, I think. And unfortunately, yes, we have another ear-breaking lift. Luckily I don't stay here very long, so we can escape the sound. There we go. I really don't know what's causing that. I think it's just the fact that this is an old level and an update valve did at one point must have broken the lift sounds. Who knows? Okay, so this, although the idea of piloting a giant robot and smashing out the base is a really cool one, and for the most part you kind of do get that experience. There's a lot of things I didn't like about this final area, and you're noticing here, this is one of the things I hated about it, is that you can just stay in this little cubby hole with your rocket launcher with infinite ammo and slowly take out the combined soldiers one by one. And oh, is it boring. It is so boring. If you're designing areas like this, you've really got to take into account that the player will always, or mostly always, take the path of least resistance when it comes to their gameplay. You know, even if that path is supremely boring. So again, we can just stay in this cubby hole, use the rocket launcher because we've got infinite ammo, and then just snipe out some combine with the crossbow here. Oh, look at this shot! Yeah, lovely. So that was quite satisfying. But yeah, it's just a real shame. I mean, I cut a load of footage out here because I died and went back, but both times it's just a case of if you don't want to take damage because you need all the health and armor for this next part, then you just have to sit in that doorway, and it's just, oh, it's so boring. Alright, so we're in our little mech now, and the thing I really like about this mech is that all these wall panels around the sides are all breakable, so as your mech takes damage, all these panels start to fall off, and you're exposed to more and more gunfire from outside. It's a really neat idea. So off we go in our mech, and again, this is the other thing I really didn't like about this kind of, is that the mech setup is it's not very intuitive, and it really doesn't explain things very well. You're just kind of, I was just spamming all the buttons here because I didn't really know what any of them did. You know, you work out fairly quickly that the side buttons are for the arm cannons. But like, you've got two turret guns that you can man in between the buttons, and it's just, I didn't have any idea that I could actually use them. And generally I just think this area asks too much of the player the first time around. I mean, you're thrown into a completely unique situation where you're controlling this huge mech, and you've got to shoot all the combine, you've got to use the arm cannons to take out everything on the sides, and you've got to come all the way to the bottom of the mech here to regen your health and armor. And as you'll see here in a moment, that can cause a couple of problems. So you have to use the arm cannons to blow open the doors at the front here. Now you'll notice I'm getting fairly close to them, and kind of running out of time to do that now. Yeah. But I mean, again, it's just not obvious that you even have to blow up that door at all. I was just expecting them to open, really. So notice here, this is where it worked out. You can actually use the turret guns on the side there. I actually used one by accident. It's got a really bizarre visual effect. This kind of, you get this beam right in your face when you use them. They are very handy though, taking out the Combine. They do their job well. There we go, blown a hole in the door. So yeah, on my first playthrough, the one I deleted, I died so many times to these Combine soldiers on the walls here because I just didn't know that you could use these cannons here to take them all out. And the level became so much harder because the Combine would destroy the wall panels on the robot, and you just end up taking damage from every single angle imaginable. Unfortunately, the Combine gunship AI kind of bugs out here as well. It just stays at such a long range, you can never really kill it. And even here, it's just kind of standing in midair. So yeah, there's a couple of problems with this area. I think for a finale, I think maybe something that would have perhaps worked better would be you kind of do it in stages where the mech will move and you just have to like shoot some Combine on platforms, and then you'd have to like maybe charge the mech up again, and then you know, the weapons would come online, so you'd already be familiar with how the mech moved, and then you'd just learn about the weapon system, so then it would stop again, you'd recharge it, and then you'd get the cannons on the front as well. So it's just kind of gradually introducing all the mechanics that way rather than just throwing everything at the player straight away. I think that'd be interesting, and it would kind of break up the pacing a bit as well. Like by the time you get to the end here, you've been on this thing for about five minutes or something, and it gets a little bit dull after a while. Even though you're on a giant mech, there just really isn't much to do apart from press buttons. So yeah, maybe it would have been nice to break up the pacing like that. Stop off for recharges and things. So you notice we've got a duel of the Titans going on here. Now I have no idea if the little turrets there actually damage it, but I thought I'd give it a go anyway. But I'm just kind of spamming the left and right arm cannons, hoping that that's what I'm meant to be doing. But there's no real feedback that you're damaging the enemy robot until it actually blows up. There we go. Victory! So yeah, that was D Robos by Tylak. I think the first map is definitely my favourite by far. The second map, while it had some great combat in it, was just way too confusing layout wise. I mean, again, I like the fact that you've got so much freedom to move around wherever you like, but you know, freedom can be very, very frustrating if the author doesn't point out the important places to go. Yeah, and the third map, well, it's a bit of a spectacle, and you know, it's I suppose it's a bit of a gimmick, really. You know, yeah, you have a giant robot blowing stuff up, but the actual gameplay can be very frustrating and annoying. And again, the mechanics aren't really explained very well, and things like the door that you have to blow up. Again, it's just not signposted at all. So it's just a case of trial and error, which is like the worst way to do things. Yeah, so let me know what you think, guys, and I will see you next time.